Hello everyone, this is Nitish and today I will teach you Chapter 2 Economic Survey 2022 and 23. Today is episode number 2 and Chapter 2, that is India's Medium Term Growth Outlook. This will be helpful for this year UPSC exam, but before starting this class I would like you to please subscribe the channel and also like and comment on videos. These contents are free of cost, so for test series and foundation videos, you can contact to VYSH on WhatsApp 7200-681-675. So let's begin. First we will look the introductory part of this chapter. From 2014 to 2022, the Indian economy underwent a gamut of wide-ranging structural and governance reform that strengthened the economy's fundamentals by enhancing its overall efficiency. So, these reforms are based on the following principle. Number 1 is creating public goods. Number 2 is adopting trust-based governance. Number 3 is co-partnering with the private sector. And last one is improving agricultural productivity. As it is introductory part, so I will explain these 4 points in the coming slides. The economic situation of year 2023 is similar to the period of 2003. I will try to explain this point with the help of 4 boxes. The period between 1998 to 2002 experienced economic shocks like balance sheet stress and global shocks, which is analogous to 2020 and 22. Box number 2. Regarding the structural reforms. The structural reforms that were taken in 2002 paid growth dividends from 2003. Similarly, structural reforms that were taken post-pandemic will ensure faster growth. The third box is regarding growth in 2023. The growth in 2023 is evident from improved and healthier balance sheet of the banking, non-banking and corporate sector, a fresh credit cycle and double-digit growth in bank credit. And the last box is regarding the factors which improved India's growth outlook. So these are greater formalization, higher financial inclusion and creation of economic opportunities, which has improved India's growth outlook in the medium term. Next topic is shocks of 1998 to 2002. First one is domestic and global shock. That this period witnessed a series of domestic and global shocks which subdued investors' confidence. Next is regarding India's nuclear test. The sanction imposed by the US on India after India's nuclear test led to a sharp decline in capital flows to India during the month following the nuclear test. Third point is regarding droughts. The period between 2000 and 2002 also witnessed 2 successive droughts. Fourth is regarding global uncertainties. The domestic shocks were accompanied by heightened global uncertainties resulting from the end of tech boom and 9/11 attacks. And the last is regarding balance sheet, that the balance sheet of the Indian financial system and the corporate sectors were under repair during the period. So these are the shocks of 1998 to 2002 period. Now move on to the reforms that were undertaken during 2000 and 2003. So the first one is regarding FDI, that is foreign direct investment. Investments were liberalized further to encourage FDI as a main source of non-debt creating capital inflows. Next is regarding the telecom sector, that the telecom sector was entirely reformed by the new telecom policy 1999. Next is regarding infrastructure projects, that this period also marked the launch of then largest infrastructure project of the independent India, that is the Golden Quadrilateral. Next is regarding FRBM Act, that the fiscal responsibility and the Budget Management Act was passed to address the historic highs of the combined gross fiscal deficit of the government. Next is regarding capital inflows. The economic growth during the period was supported by strong capital inflows which indicated favorable domestic and external factors. This combination of structural economic reforms with their lagged effect on economic growth has parallels to what is unfolding in India's economic presently. Now move on to the reform framework at present. So first I will explain this diagram, then I will move on in points so that I can explain you more clearly. So this diagram, From this diagram, we can see that the four principles on the basis of which the structural and the governance reforms are based, as I told you in the introductory part, is basically the four. That is, first one is the creating public goods. The next is trust-based governance. Third is private sector participation, and fourth is agricultural productivity. So with the help of these principles, the government brings structural and the governance reforms in order to improve the ease of doing business plus the ease of living. So now the point is, what is the need of improving this? These are basically need to be improved to ensure efficient resource allocation and followed by enhancing productivity potential of economy and its people. So this diagram is, I think, that more clear to you. Now move on to points. First one is regarding physical infrastructure. We are continuing with the same topic, that is reform framework at present. The programs for road connectivity like Bharatmala, port infrastructure like Sabarmala, electrification, railway upgradation and operationalizing new airports and air routes through Udan scheme have significantly improved the physical infrastructure in the last few years. Next is regarding public digital infrastructure, that the government emphasis on developing public digital infrastructure during the last few years has enhanced the economic potential of individual and businesses. Third is regarding financial inclusion. Linking bank accounts with PM Jan Dhan Yojana and the penetration of mobile phones, that is JAM Trinity. Those who don't know this concept, that is what is PM Jan Dhan Yojana and JAM Trinity, they can refer to economics lecture in which I have explained these concepts in detail. So continuing with this, that linking bank accounts with the PM Jan Dhan Yojana and the penetration of mobile phones like JAM Trinity schemes, the country has witnessed significant progress in financial inclusion. Next is regarding the PM Swanidhi scheme, that the more than 32.7 lakh street vendors have availed a first loan of 10,000 rupees under PM Swanidhi scheme. Next is regarding GST taxpayers, that the increasing number of GST taxpayers from 70 lakhs in 2017 to more than 1.4 crore in 2022 indicates the expansion of formal businesses. Continuing with the topic, portals which simplified the governance. Unified digital interfaces that connect various initiative portals have simplified governance, resulting in more efficient resource allocation in the country. And I have also give some examples of the portals which simplified this governance. So first one is Jan Samarth portal and Umang app. The National Single Window System for business approvals, the Jan Samarth portal for credit linked central government scheme, and the Umang app for access to central and the state government services are essential steps towards enhancing the ease of doing business through the integration of existing system. Next is eShram portal. eShram portal with more than 28.5 crore registered workers has been integrated with various other digital portals for easy accessibility. And the last one is PM Gati Shakti, the GIS-based platform that brings together multiple ministries for integrated planning and coordinated implementation of multi-modal infrastructure connectivity project aims to reduce logistic cost. Reform framework at present. Once again continuing the same topic. Next is regulatory framework, that is the simplification of regulatory frameworks through reforms such as Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code and the Real E-Estate Act has enhanced the ease of doing business. Next is another significant reform, that is to enhance doing business has been the decriminalization of minor economic offences under the Criminals Act of 2013. Next is regarding higher tax buoyancy. The positive trend of higher tax buoyancy is visible in the economy. One prominent reason behind the high revenue buoyancy is the introduction of technology-backed tax governance reform for simplifying tax processes, enhancing compliance, and improving fraud detection system. Next point is regarding disinvestment policy. The government's disinvestment policy has been revived in the last 8 years with the stake sales and successful listing of PSE, that is public sector enterprise, on the stock market. Significant initiatives have been introduced under Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India program to enhance India's manufacturing capabilities and exports across the industries. Continuing with the reform framework at present, next point is regarding PLI schemes, that the PLI schemes for large scale electronics manufacturing has attracted an investment of few crores and contributed to the total production of rupees 2.04 lakh crore. Next is regarding logistic ecosystems, that the National Logistic Policy, which came in 2022, has been launched to create an overarching logistic ecosystem for lowering the cost of logistics and bringing it to the par with other developed countries. Support measures for MSMEs, that is micro, small and medium enterprises, during the pandemic in the form of Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme and revision in the definition of MSMEs under the ambit of Atmanirbhar Bharat help them face the crisis shock. And the last point is regarding agricultural sector, that the agricultural sector in India has grown at an average annual growth rate of 4.6% during the last 6 years. This growth is partly attributable to good monsoon years and partly to the various reforms undertaken by the government to enhance agricultural productivity. Next topic is growth magnets in 2023 to 2030. After a long period of balance sheet repair in the financial and the corporate sector, the financial cycle is poised to turn upward. First point under this heading. Second point is digitalization reforms, that the digitalization reforms and the resulting efficiency gain in terms of greater formalization, higher financial inclusion and more economic opportunities will be the second most important driver of India's economic growth in the medium term. Next is in context of geopolitical situation, that the evolving geopolitical situation also presents an opportunity for India to benefit from the diversification of global supply chain. So, as the health and the economic shocks of pandemic and the spike in the commodity prices in 2022 wear off, the Indian economy is thus well placed to grow at its potential in the coming decade, similarly to the growth experience of the economy after 2003. Now, let's look at some extra data and facts. This graph explains about the developments in the critical infrastructure capacity. So, as I told you in the previous video that we have to understand the trends from the graph. There is no need to learn the data. So, this graph here we have to understand the trend from 2011 to 2020. In the electricity capacity, installed capacity, we can see that there is a steady increase from 2011 to 2020. Similarly, in cargo handling capacity of ports, we can see that if we compare, because here the data of 2011 is not given, so we are comparing only 2 years, that is 2014 and 2020. The purple circle is representing 2014 and the green circle is representing 2020. So here we can also see a steady increase. In terms of railway tracks, we can see a steady increase that from 2011 to 2020 there is a steady increase. Similarly, in terms of national highways, we are seeing here the steady increase as if we compare from 2011 to 2020. So these are the developments in critical infrastructure capacity. Now move on to the next figure. This figure represents the India's growth projection by various agencies for the financial year 2023. So the first bar graph is representing the India's growth projection given by S&P Globals, that is 7.3. Similarly, ADB gives 7%, Moody gives 7%, Fitch Ratings give 7%, Goldman Sachs gives 7%, World Bank gives 6.9, RBI gives 6.8, SBI gives 6.8, IMF gives 6.8, Citigroup gives 6.7% and OECD gives 6.6%. So on an average, if we calculate the average of this India's growth projection, we get a value that is 6.9. Now, the last figure of today's class, it is regarding rising average monthly gross GST collection. So as I told you that we have to look at the trend, no need to learn the data. So if we compare from financial year 18 to financial year 23, and in the statement if it is written that there is a steady increase in GST collection or there is a steady decrease in GST collection, then the both statement will be wrong. But if the financial year is changed from financial year 18 to financial year 21, that is, if we compare from financial year 21 to financial year 23, there is a steady increase or a constant increase in gross GST collection. So I hope you like this video. So please like and comment on videos, subscribe the channel. Thank you.